Chris Hipkins.
Mr Speaker, having listened carefully to that contribution, there was nothing in that speech that explained what it is about the New Zealand curriculum that the government don't think charter schools should have to comply with and should have to follow. What is the problem with asking charter schools to teach to the same curriculum as every other school in the country? And we didn't hear that from David Seymour. What we heard from him was that because the current charter schools, the first ones to be established, are teaching the curriculum, that in fact we don't need to require charter schools to teach the curriculum. The same argument could be made of any number of government rules and regulations. The fact that people voluntarily do it means that maybe we could just do away with them altogether, which of course is the typical libertarian philosophy of the ACT Party, I know. But actually, if the taxpayer is sinking significant amounts of money into these charter schools, and bearing in mind they are funded significantly more than state schools are funded on a per student basis, then they should be required to meet the same standards, as existing state schools need to meet. Many of the claims that have been made about charter schools simply don't stack up. And I'll deal first of all with the one that most directly relates to the curriculum, and that is their achievement statistics, the achievement statistics the government require of them. And Hekia Parata has been regularly boasting in the House that the teaching at charter schools, and one charter school in particular, is leading to a 100% pass rate. What she neglects to mention is that 100% pass rate is only of the children or the students who have entered for NCEA. It's not based on their whole roll. So those figures have been doctored, because in order to get the 100% pass rate, they can simply dissuade the students from participating in NCEA altogether. And NCEA is based on the curriculum. That's one of the reasons that we have a curriculum, is to ensure that as students progress through their schooling, that they're going to land up in the right place. They're going to land up with the skills and knowledge they need to achieve NCEA and to move off into the job market, into tertiary education with the skills and knowledge that they need. Why is it that charter school students should be treated differently? Why is it that they don't need to know those things that every other school in the country is required to teach of their students? There's no argument for that being put forward by the government. They're simply continuing to run the lines that it's about creativity, diversity and innovation, as David Seymour said. Well, every school in the country should be encouraged to do those things, and every school in the country is. But state schools are subject to a level of regulation, and it's an increasing level of regulation under this government, that charter schools aren't. And in fact, many of the regulations that are positive, that are designed to ensure that students are progressing in their education, like following the New Zealand curriculum, don't apply to charter schools. And yet the increasing regulation in the state school sector is distracting away from the New Zealand curriculum and preventing schools from teaching to its full depth and breadth, which is what we should be encouraging. There isn't a good reason put forward by the government yet as to why this bill should not be passed. It is important in the overall scheme of things that every New Zealander should be able to know, and every employer, every tertiary education provider should be able to know, that New Zealand students are being taught a wide range of skills and knowledge, a depth of a curriculum, and they don't have that with charter schools, because charter schools aren't required to teach to that curriculum. So another one of the arguments that David Seymour put forward was that charter schools are seeking to do new things. State schools are seeking to do new things as well, and they're seeking to do them within the constraints or within the bounds of the New Zealand curriculum, which is internationally recognised as one of the most dynamic and flexible in the world. And I've been recently doing some travel where people have been asking me about the New Zealand curriculum, and they have been incredibly impressed by the focus on competencies that exists within the curriculum now, the fact that it's not knowledge specific, it's not basically defining that a student should learn a particular fact or a particular piece of factual information at a given time, but it's about the types of learning that should be taking place. Our curriculum is brilliant. And everybody else around the world who I speak to says this is great. They either want to copy it or they're trying to copy it. And why is it that charter schools shouldn't be part of that equation? The New Zealand curriculum is already flexible. The New Zealand curriculum already encourages creativity, diversity, innovation. Those are all essential ingredients in it, and charter schools should be required to do that as well. They shouldn't be held to a different standard. And that brings me to the next point. Has the bell gone already?
No, the bell hasn't gone.
Oh.
The bell doesn't go in a 5-minute speech.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, in that case, I wasn't aware of that. That appears to be a new rule, Mr. Speaker.
Dr.